The gun pressed
Please
against
don't
Amara's
shoot.
temple as she
I'm
stared
begging
into
you,
the
just let me
coldest
go.
eyes she'd ever seen. Blood pooled around the body at her feet, the man she'd watched this monster execute without hesitation. You saw nothing, Kim Tae-young said, his Korean accent wrapping around each word like silk over steel. Tell me you saw nothing. But Amara had never been good at lying. Her dark brown skin gleamed with cold sweat, her natural coils falling loose from where she'd pinned them up. Her hands trembled as she clutched her phone, the emergency call half-dialed. I saw everything. His jaw tightened. For a moment, she thought he'd pull the trigger. Instead, he lowered the gun and laughed, dark and humorless. Brave or stupid? I haven't decided which. He circled her like a predator, his perfectly tailored suit unmarred despite the violence he'd just committed. His sharp features were striking in the dim light, dangerous beauty wrapped in darkness. You have two choices. Die tonight, quick and painless. Or marry me. What? You heard me. Become my wife. Sign the papers. Play your part. You live. You refuse. You join him. He gestured to the corpse. Amara's mind raced. This had to be insane. Marriage to a killer? But the alternative was a bullet. How is that even a choice? It's the only one you're getting. Decide now. She looked at the dead man, at the blood, at the monster offering her a twisted salvation. I'll marry you. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Smart girl. The wedding happened 72 hours later in a private chapel with armed guards instead of guests. Amara wore a white dress that cost more than her yearly salary, the silk a stark contrast against her deep brown skin. Her natural hair was styled in elegant twists, making her look like a queen being led to slaughter. She was stunning, and she hated that he noticed. Tae-young's grip on her hand during the vows was possessive, bruising. You belong to me now, he whispered as the officiant pronounced them married. Every breath you take is mine. I belong to no one, she hissed back. His eyes flashed with something dangerous. We'll see about that. The penthouse he brought her to was a gilded cage in the heart of Seoul, all marble and glass overlooking the Han River. He showed her to a bedroom, cold and impersonal. Your room. Stay out of my way, stay out of my business, and you'll live comfortably. And if I don't? He stepped close, backing her against the door. Even in heels, she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Then I'll remind you exactly how you ended up here, Mrs. Kim. The name sounded like a threat on his lips. The only reason you're breathing is because I allow it. Don't forget that. But Amara had never been good at following orders either. The first week, she explored every inch of the penthouse, opening doors he told her to avoid, rifling through his study when he was gone. She found records of shipments, offshore accounts, names of politicians and judges, evidence of an empire built on blood and corruption. Looking for something? His voice made her jump. Tae-young stood in the doorway, fury carved into his sharp features. I believe I told you this room was off limits. You told me a lot of things. I don't remember agreeing to any of them. She turned to face him fully, her brown skin glowing in the lamplight, her full lips curved in defiance. He crossed the room in 3 strides, slamming his hands on the desk on either side of her, caging her in. You agreed when you chose to live. I chose not to die. There's a difference. She met his glare with her own. What are you going to do, kill me? Then why bother with this whole marriage charade? Something flickered in his expression, too quick to read. Keep pushing me, Amara. See what happens. Maybe I want to see. His hand wrapped around her throat, not squeezing, just holding. She could feel her pulse hammering against his palm. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Then show me. For a heartbeat, she thought he would. His thumb brushed over her racing pulse, his dark eyes dropping to her full lips. Then he released her and stepped back, speaking in rapid Korean under his breath, cursing. Stay out of my study. He left, slamming the door behind him. Amara touched her throat where his hand had been, her dark skin still tingling from his touch. She hated how her body had responded, how heat had pooled low in her belly despite her fear. This was wrong. He was a murderer, a monster. So why did part of her want him to touch her again? The next day, she pushed harder. She rearranged his perfectly organized office, left her things scattered through his pristine space, played music loud enough to interrupt his phone calls. Each small rebellion was met with clenched fists and dark promises he never followed through on, until she went too far. She'd found a burner phone in his desk, scrolled through messages in Korean about a shipment coming in that night. She'd used a translation app, understood enough. Without thinking, she'd forwarded the information to a number she remembered from the news, an FBI tip line working with Korean authorities. The moment she hit send, She knew she'd made a mistake. Taeyun came home that night covered in blood that wasn't his, rage radiating off him in waves. What did you do? Her mouth went dry. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. He grabbed her arm, dragging her to his study, throwing the burner phone at her feet. He switched to English, his accent thicker with anger. The authorities were waiting at the dock. Someone tipped them off. And you're the only one who knew. Good, she said, trying to keep her voice steady even as fear clawed at her throat. Maybe they'll finally catch you. His laugh was vicious. They didn't catch me, but they caught my men. 3 of them died in the raid. 3 men with families, with children. He grabbed her chin, forcing her to look at him. His hand was cold against her warm skin. Their blood is on your hands now. How does that feel? Guilt crashed over her, but she refused to show it. You're the one who put them in danger. And you're the one who got them killed. He released her roughly. I should kill you for this. 1 bullet, problem solved. Then do it. His hand moved to the gun at his waist. She closed her eyes, waiting. But the shot never came. When she opened her eyes, he was staring at her with something like confusion. Why won't you beg? He asked quietly. Why won't you cry? Plead for your life. Would it make a difference? No. Then why waste my breath? She straightened her spine. If you're going to kill me, kill me. But I won't grovel for a monster. He holstered the gun, running a hand through his dark hair in frustration. You're staying locked in this penthouse. No phone, no internet, no contact with the outside world. You want to act like a prisoner? I'll treat you like one. You can't keep me here forever. Watch me. He turned to leave, then stopped. And Amara? That pretty face of yours won't save you if you try something like this again. Beauty means nothing when you're dead. The words should have scared her. Instead, they ignited something defiant in her chest. He thought he could break her? He had no idea who he was dealing with. The second week of her imprisonment, she started a different kind of war. She refused to eat the meals his staff brought, refused to sleep, refused to acknowledge his existence when he came to check on her, which he did more often than necessary. You're being childish, he said on the 5th day, finding her standing by the window, staring out at Seoul's glittering lights. And you're being a tyrant. Seems we're both living up to expectations. She didn't turn around, but she could feel his presence behind her, close enough that his body heat radiated against her back. If you're trying to starve yourself to death, it won't work. I'll have them force-feed you if necessary. How romantic. Is that what you tell all your wives? She finally turned, finding him closer than expected. Close enough to see the dark circles under his eyes, the tension in his jaw. Oh wait. I'm the only one desperate enough to choose you over a bullet. His hand shot out, gripping her waist and pulling her against him. You chose me. Don't forget that. I chose life. You just happened to come with it. But her breath hitched as his other hand came up to cup her face, his thumb tracing her cheekbone with unexpected gentleness. You're the most infuriating woman I've ever met, he said softly, his eyes searching hers. Stubborn, reckless, beautiful. The last word came out almost angry, like he resented having to say it. Is that supposed to be a compliment? It's a warning. His thumb moved to her bottom lip. Because I'm starting to forget why I'm supposed to hate you. Her heart hammered. I haven't forgotten why I hate you. You're a murderer. A criminal. A monster who gave me an impossible choice. Then why are you leaning into my touch? His voice was barely a whisper. She realized he was right. Her body had betrayed her, arching toward him, craving more contact. She jerked back. Don't touch me. You don't mean that. I do. Liar. But he released her anyway, stepping back. Tomorrow, you're coming with me to an event. Where something beautiful. We need to show the world that Mrs. Kim is happy in her marriage. And if I refuse, then I'll dress you myself. His eyes darkened. And I promise you won't like my methods. The next evening, she found a black dress laid out on her bed, elegant and sophisticated with a neckline that plunged just enough to be dangerous. She hated that it fit perfectly, that it made her skin glow, that when Taeyong saw her, his control visibly cracked. You look stunning, he said, his voice rough. He was devastating in a black suit, his dark hair styled back, every inch the powerful crime lord. Don't what? Tell you the truth. He offered his arm. Come. And remember, tonight you're madly in love with me. Smile, laugh at my jokes, act like you can't wait to get me alone. I'd rather die. That can be arranged. But there was no real threat in his voice. Something had shifted between them, something dangerous and electric. The gala was full of Seoul's elite, politicians and businessmen who pretended not to know where Taeyong's money came from. Amara played her part perfectly, smiling up at him, letting him keep a possessive hand on her waist, laughing at appropriate moments. But she saw the truth in the eyes watching them. These people were afraid of him. And now, as his wife, they were afraid of her too. "You're a natural," Taeyong murmured in her ear during a slow dance. "Anyone would think you actually like me. I'm a good actress." "Are you?" His hand slid lower on her back, pulling her closer. "Because your pulse is racing. Your pupils are dilated. Your breath keeps hitching when I touch you. That's called fear. That's called desire." His lips brushed her ear. "You want me, Amara. As much as you hate me, you want me. You're delusional. Prove it. Push me away." He pulled back just enough to look at her, challenge in his eyes. She should have shoved him away, made a scene, embarrassed him in front of all these important people. But her hands were fisted in his jacket, holding him close instead of pushing away. "I hate you," she whispered. "I know." His forehead touched hers. "I hate you too. Hate that you make me feel things. Hate that I can't stop thinking about you. Hate that every time I see you, I want to either strangle you or kiss you, and I can't decide which. So decide. If you're loving this twisted romance, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me which you think you should choose. Because things are about to get very complicated." The moment shattered when gunshots rang out. Taeyong moved instantly, covering her body with his, pulling her down as chaos erupted around them. People screamed, running for exits. More shots. Glass shattering. "Stay down," he ordered, his gun already in his hand. "Don't move." But Amara saw the shooter, saw him aiming for Taeyong's back. Without thinking, she grabbed a champagne bottle and threw it, hitting the man's arm. The shot went wide. Taeyong spun, fired twice. The shooter dropped. "I told you to stay down," he snarled. But his hands were checking her for injuries, frantic and thorough. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "I'm fine. I just saved your life. You're welcome." His eyes were wild, unfocused. Then he kissed her, hard and desperate, his hands in her hair, pulling her against him like he needed to confirm she was real, alive. She should have fought him. Instead, she kissed him back with equal desperation, months of tension exploding between them. When he pulled away, they were both breathing hard. "Why did you do that? Why did you save me?" "I don't know," she admitted. "Maybe because if anyone's going to kill you, it should be me." He laughed, shocked and genuine. "You're insane. You made me that way." His security team surrounded them, rushing them out a side exit to a waiting car. Inside, the space felt too small, the air too charged. Taeyong's hand found hers in the darkness, squeezing once before letting go. "That was my rival," he said quietly. "Park Jimin. He's been trying to take over my territory for months. Tonight was supposed to be a statement. Seems like a bad strategy, trying to kill you in front of everyone. Desperate men make desperate moves." He looked at her. "Thank you for the warning. Don't thank me. I acted on instinct. Still, you saved my life." His thumb brushed over her knuckles. "I owe you." "Then let me go." His hand tightened on hers. Anything but that. Back at the penthouse, tension crackled between them like lightning about to strike. Amara headed for her room, needing space, needing to think. But Taeyong caught her wrist. Don't run from this." "From what?" "There's nothing here but hostage and captor. You know that's not true anymore." He pulled her against him, his other hand cupping her face. "Not after tonight. Not after you chose to save me instead of letting me die. It was a mistake." "Was it?" His lips hovered over hers. "Then why are you still here? Why aren't you pulling away?" "Because I'm trying to figure out," she whispered, "how I can hate someone so much and still want them to kiss me again." "I'll ruin you," he said, his voice raw with need and warning. "If I start this, if I claim you the way I want to, I'll ruin you for other men. You'll never be free of me, never be able to leave. I'll mark every inch of your skin, possess every part of you until you forget where you end and I begin. Maybe I want to be ruined." Her hand slid up his chest. "Maybe I want to ruin you right back." He kissed her then, and it was nothing like the desperate kiss at the gala. This was claiming, consuming, a promise of everything he'd threatened. His hands were everywhere, learning her curves, pulling her closer. She matched him touch for touch, bite for bite, letting years of loneliness and weeks of tension pour into every moment. "Bedroom," he growled against her lips. "Now. Yours or mine?" "Ours." He lifted her, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her to his room. The master bedroom she'd never entered. He laid her on black silk sheets, his body covering hers. "Last chance to run." "I'm not running." "Good." His hands found the zipper of her dress. "Because I meant what I said. After tonight, you're mine. Completely." No more separate rooms, no more pretending. You'll be my wife in every way. Possessive bastard. You're possessive bastard. He kissed down her neck, her collarbone. Say yes, Amara. Tell me you want this. Yes, she gasped as his mouth found sensitive skin. God help me, yes. What happened next was weeks of hatred and desire combusting into something neither could control. He took his time, learning every sound she made, every touch that made her gasp. She returned the favor, discovering that the monster had weaknesses, places that made him groan her name like a prayer. When he finally pushed inside her, they both stilled, the moment too intense, too perfect. Mine, he breathed against her lips. Yours, she agreed, and knew she was telling the truth. But you're mine too. Always. He moved then, setting a rhythm that had them both gasping, chasing something just out of reach. When she shattered around him, he followed, her name on his lips like a curse and a benediction. After, tangled in sheets that smelled like them both, reality crept back in. This changes everything, Amara said softly. I know. His hand traced patterns on her bare shoulder. I can't let you go now. Even if you ask. Even if you beg. I know. She turned to face him. But Taeyong, I need to know. The man you killed, the one I witnessed. Who was he? His jaw tightened. A traitor. He was selling information to Park, getting my people killed. I gave him a chance to confess. He chose to lie. So you executed him. Yes. No apology in his voice. That's who I am, Amara. That's the man you just gave yourself to. A killer. A monster. Can you live with that? She should say no. Should run while she still could, while her heart wasn't completely his. But looking at him, seeing the vulnerability hidden behind the hardness, she realized it was already too late. I don't know, she admitted. But I guess we'll find out. He pulled her closer, and she let him, knowing she'd crossed a line she could never uncross. The captor and captive had become something more complicated, more dangerous. But outside their temporary haven, Park Jimin was planning his next move. And this time, he wouldn't miss. The next morning, Amara woke to an empty bed and a note in sharp handwriting. Had to handle business. Stay inside. I'll explain everything tonight. T. She should have listened. Should have stayed safe behind the penthouse's security. But she'd never been good at following orders. The burner phone she'd hidden weeks ago was still there, tucked behind books Taeyong never read. She powered it on, seeing dozens of missed messages from a number she didn't recognize. We know you're his wife. We know you're trapped. We can help you escape. Meet us at the address below. Come alone. Agent Lee, NIS. National Intelligence Service. Korean authorities who'd been trying to bring down Taeyong's organization for years. This was her chance. Her way out. But as she stared at the message, she thought about last night. About Taeyong's hands on her skin, his voice saying, mine, like she was something precious. About how she'd felt safe in the arms of a monster. Was that Stockholm Syndrome? Or something real? She had 1 hour to decide. Meet the agents and betray the man who'd ruined her for anyone else. Or delete the message and choose the monster who'd promised to never let her go. Her hand hovered over the delete button. Then her phone buzzed with a new message, this time from Taeyong's number. But the words weren't his. We have your husband. Come to the warehouse on Pier 7 in 1 hour. Alone. Or we'll send him back to you in pieces. Park. Amara's blood ran cold. This was a trap. Had to be. But what if it wasn't? What if Taeyong was really in danger? She looked at both messages. The NIS offering freedom. Park Jimin offering a trap. And somewhere between them, a husband she'd started to care for despite every reason not to. 1 hour. 2 choices. And this time, choosing wrong might cost more than just her life. If you're dying to know what happens next, smash that like button and comment, choose below. Should Amara trust the NIS? Try to save Taeyong? Or is there a third option I haven't thought of? Part 2 is coming,
Don't miss
but
what
only if you
happens
want
next.
it. Don't forget
Hit
to
that
subscribe because
button
this story
up
is
there.
far from over, and the next choice Amara makes will change everything.